Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of B to Z. We're going to do a random inspection of one of my splits. Picking this one only because I am heating it and the 1 gallon bucket was empty. The last time I inspected it was on August 26th. Today is September 1st, and I labeled it as strong and building comb. I saw plenty of eggs and larvae. I gave it a mite treatment on August 30th, which is the 5th mite treatment for the yard and last one. Next week I'll be checking my alcohol wash counts again in the hives. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and open this guy up. I have another gallon of sugar water ready in case they are using up their sugar water to build comb. So let's open it up and see what we find. Okay, so this is just a telescoping cover used to cover the feeding box. This is just another 10 frame deep. And there's the bucket. So this bucket is empty. The swifter pad with one little beetle there, it's dead already. Alright, so it looks like I got bees from frames 2 through 9. So we'll go ahead and start on this side. These guys are building out pretty good. So this is an empty frame. Go to the next one. Looks like they started building comb here. They're building on some drone cone. The drone cone is full of eggs on one side, and the other side's got the sugar water in it. Our flow starts sometime in September. We're September 1st. And I have some sugar water that's dribbled onto some top of a hive, and nobody's touching it. And I also have a frame of sugar water that has some wonky build on it, and I've took that out and nobody's touching it. So, but these guys are still using up the sugar water, which I'm fine because they're still only building their single frame. So this is a frame of brood, and it's rimmed out on the top with some sugar water. Here's the back side. So I'm going to call that one frame of brood. So when I manage these boxes in these colonies in the single box, which is all I do, by the way, unless if I'm going to do a split, and I'll add a second box that then build out to the second box and then split it. But mainly I manage in single box. There's the queen. The queen's right there. Let's see if I point her out to you guys. Right there. And of course, she's going to want to climb. There, she's back on this side. There she is. Okay. So back to the task. So we have another frame of brood here. It's still pretty fresh. It's not attached on all sides. So we're going to call this 2 frames of brood so far. And I see eggs on it. So because they're so close to getting to full 10 frames, I'm going to go ahead and look at all the frames to see where we are as far as building out. Okay, there's another frame. So they're still not quite attached to the sides or the bottom yet. So I gotta be really careful on how I turn this and flip it over. But this frame has very little drone. The rest of it is worker brood. And I see all stages of brood on both sides. So you can see the frames are totally covered in bees. You can see the comb still. So despite having 8 frames, I'm still not going to add another box. They're not dense enough. So that's 1, 2, 3 frames of brood. Let's go to the next frame. Bees grow best in tight spaces. You want them to grow tightly in the smallest space possible. Here's your next frame. So we're going to call this 4 frames of brood. Let's look at the other side. Same thing. They got some stores on the top, and they have all stages of brood. There's some pollen as well, and there's some drone as well. They still got plenty of space to grow out. I don't see them overly full with nectar. Most of these frames are primarily brood, which is what I want to see. I don't want to see all these frames full of nectar, then I'm possibly just overfeeding them. So here's another frame. They're still building this one out. Looks like they just started it. Okay. This has got about maybe 50% brood. Drone, comb. And then the rest of it is worker comb. So these bigger cells here are drone, and then the smaller cells here you see down here are worker. The drones are the males, the workers are, well, females, and the workers are the ones that go get the pollen, they get the nectar, they get the water, they feed the brood, they take care of the brood, they take care of the queen. So the workers have a lot of work to do. They're the most important inside the hive, aside from the queen. The drone's purpose is, again, only purpose of the drone is just to mate with the queen, with virgin queens, that is. And they do that once, and once that drone mates, they die. So it's not a mating thing that happens on a continual basis. They mate one time. Once that queen hatches out from a queen cell, they'll mate and they go away. They die. They have a time of their lives. One hit wonder, they're gone. Now, they don't mate with their own drones from the same hive, hopefully. They go out to a mating area, mating place, flying, and they mate with drones from other hives from around the area. This one is super heavy, so this is most likely all nectar, or sugar water I should say, and it's got plenty of pollen stores as well. We'll go to the other side and take a peek at it. And again, this one's got a mix of pollen and nectar, or sugar water in this case. So we have, I'm going to call this 4 frames of brood. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because this one wasn't quite drawn out yet, although they did have eggs on it. But it wasn't 100% drawn out. Maybe 25-50% drawn out. Here's another one that's still being drawn out. Most likely this is going to be sugar water. Yep, and it sure is. So the outside frames tend to be more of stores. And then that last frame on the outside is still completely empty. So the queen has plenty of places to lay still. They're not overfilling everything with the nectar where she doesn't have a place to stay, so I will continue to feed. I'm not putting any honey supers on this guy yet until they're super dense, and I'm hoping that that will happen faster with feeding, and it does. Feeding Alright, so the phone overheated. I stuck it in the fridge for a little bit to try to get it to cool off quicker. So as I was saying, feeding is super important for splits. You want to feed your bees so that they grow fast. It stimulates them. It makes them think they're in a flow. It makes them grow fast. They'll build out their comb quick. So during a dearth, a lot of people don't like to feed because it can cause some robbing issues. But there's ways to get around that. When you're feeding, you want to really reduce your entrance. And you can reduce it a lot. You can reduce it a lot more than you would think. And then just watch your bees. You watch them to see if you're reducing them too much. That's a whole other gallon of 1-to-1 sugar. I'm going to go ahead and put a cover over it, or another hive body over it, to prevent the sun from hitting it and expanding the air that's inside and pushing out the sugar water and flooding the inside, killing brood, possibly killing the bees, including the queen. So this helps. In the winter time, when things get cooled off in December, January time frame, this is not needed. So, a little bit more about feeding your bees during a dearth, which we're just finishing. So that's the hive that we just inspected, right there. And I had the entrance reduced by 50%, at least. And you can see there's no bearding there. So if I really wanted to, I could reduce that even further. Once you start to see some bearding, then you might want to think about opening up that entrance. And again, we're talking about when we're feeding. Because when we're feeding during the dearth, you can promote some robbing. But if you reduce that entrance where those bees can protect that entrance, then it'll greatly reduce your robbing situation. People use some robbing screens, and again, they serve basically the same purpose. They have a very small entrance, and the entrance is away from the direct aroma of the entrance where the robbers are heading towards. So anyways, so there you go. A split that was done, let me see when. This is a split that was done
August 13 with a queen. So I had a queen on another hive, and I pulled the queen along with I didn't write down how many frames, but definitely less than 5 frames, because she came out of a 5 frame or a 3 frame um, uh, nuke, and put her in here. And we're all the way up to about 7, possibly 8 frames, because some of those frames weren't completely drawn out. And just 3 weeks time with feeding. So you can see, again, we started with less than 5. I'm not 100% how many I started with. It's another note that I have to start taking on my hive to see how many frames I start with. And we're now up to about 7 to 8 frames in just 3 weeks. So there you go. If you have a good queen, good laying queen, a couple of frames with a split, you feed them right away, and they'll build that comb out right away, and she'll continue to lay very well. So there you go, guys. Just another day in Florida, September 1st. Temperatures are about 89 degrees. Feel like temperature is 93, 94 degrees. Blistering hot. Bees are now bearding, and we're coming to the end of a dearth, because I have some sugar water on some of these hive tops from changing out some of my feeders, and I also have a frame of comb that's out there that's not being touched that has sugar water all in it as well. So our flow starts here, and hopefully shortly, next week or so, for Brazilian pepper will be our fall flow for the next 2 months. In my home yard, I have just one, maybe 3 honey colonies. The rest of them are splits that I'm growing out to move out to the one of my out yards. So once again, guys, thanks for watching another video of B to Z random inspection, and until next time, you guys take care. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and comment down below if you guys have any questions. If you have any questions, or you need some help on some part of your beekeeping adventures, go ahead and post them down below. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions and to give you a hand, and might even do a video on it. So again, thanks for watching my videos. Don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and until next time, take care.